All right, so it's been a minute since I've streamed and I haven't really been plugged into a lot of discourse, but this did actually come across my Twitter feed and I thought about talking about it because it involves a couple of different things that I think I have at least a bit of a qualification to talk about. It's talking about trans rights, it's talking about, the logistics of advocacy and organizing and stuff like that. And I think that I have at least a little bit of a good ability to talk about those things. So when I say that this discourse is extremely stupid, I need you to understand that it's not because I think that this person that we're going to be talking about is stupid. I think it's because people have turned this discourse into something, or rather turned this into discourse when it didn't need to actually be discourse because this discourse is stupid. But let's talk about it anyway. So this is Bluefolf. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. I actually did not know anything about this Twitter user for a while, and then just saw this and was like, "Oh, cool." I did not realize they were this big of an account, but whatever. This is Bluefolf. She is a 19-year-old furry trans girl, and recently she was in a thing. She was in a little bit of a thing on Twitter. Basically, she posted this. On September 8th, I put up posters for trans rights around my town to fight against transphobia. And it's this picture here. It says trans rights are human rights with the trans flag colors in the background. And it's got like her little persona here. This is cutest, by the way. This is adorable, I think. Like I would just hang this up. I would just hang this up as a poster, on my wall, legit. Whenever I get my persona actually once I get a reference sheet and stuff and I actually have art of my persona, I would actually just have something like this made and then just turn it into a poster. I think this is super cute. So anyway, this is posted. And again, we've established this is based. The amount of queer people saying this is, quote, making trans people look bad or that it's causing transphobia is devastating. I just wanted to do something nice to make people in my town not feel alone. Okay, so first off, I also want to again point out this is a 19-year-old girl. This is a 19 this is a child. This is a babu. This is a baby. And also, there is nothing wrong with this. Now we'll get in a little bit more. Okay. We'll look at this one. This was the follow-up one. Hot take. The LGBTQ plus community needs to work together and put energy into something instead of us fighting with each other about something dumb online. There's still people that want us dead, laws being passed to hurt us and silence us, so why are we hurting each other? True. Base take. Based take. I want to just have this in the background. We're just gonna have this here in the background. So why am I talking about this? Why do I feel the need to make a whole segment on this? Because this blew up. The reason I saw this was because I saw a lot of large ass accounts, including Brianna Wu, trashing this and saying that this is bad activism because it makes the community look bad. And that. You want to know the take that actually led me to this, led me to see this, was there. I think it was an argument between a couple of people, one of which was someone that I followed and one of which was someone that I didn't. The argument was over this, and it had devolved into somebody saying that furry was a kink thing. And so that's how it made the trans community look bad, because it turned the trans community into a sexual thing. And it reified the belief that trans people are just sexual fetishists, which is obviously not true. But then in that conversation, like that person was shown to be wrong and like explicitly wrong, right? And then through that, the argument devolved to, well, the average person thinks that furries are a kink thing. Like that was the argument. Like find me a person, like go talk to a random person. I guarantee you they think that furries are a kink thing. And here's the thing. They're not actually wrong. They're not actually wrong that the average person does think this. I actually don't know who it was. I didn't look at the usernames. I just like saw the things and thought it was dumb. And then looked into what they were talking about. That it could have actually been that. The thing is, they're not actually wrong. If you talk to a random person about furries, they think it's a kink thing. I'm so sorry to break it to you. The average person does think that furries are a kink thing. Talk to an average person. Get out of your little like online bubble. The average person does think of their furries as a kink thing. And here's the thing about it. The average person is a dumb. That is just the thing. Like the average person is a dumb. They don't know what they're talking about. It's true that the average person thinks that furries are a kink thing. The average person is just wrong. They're incorrect. It's not true that furries are like an explicitly like kink thing. And so the argument that furries being like associated with being a kink thing makes us look bad because the average person would associate them that way. If it's true that like the average person does associate furries as a kink thing, that's all the more reason why we have to break that perception because they're not a kink thing. And this kind of goes back. Do you remember when we were having the discourse over xenogenders with Hunter Avalon? Do you remember when that was going on and Hunter Avalon was being a big dumb and talking about xenogenders being not valid? And part of like his evidence of that was like xenogenders harm the trans community because they make us look crazy. They make the trans community look insane. And one of the like major arguments that I would have against that is that with xenogenders, even if you don't accept xenogenders in the same way that you would accept trans people, the thing is, like binary trans people, the thing is that if we sell out and this isn't the word that I like want to use, it's just the one that I know like that comes to mind. If we sell out the like further like ends of our like community just for like some like veiled attempt at optics when like it really doesn't actually matter for the optics, we're indicating that we actually don't care about our own like rights and safety. Because at one point trans people were also the more like quote unquote fringe element of like a movement. Like at a point we're kind of doing to like xenogenders to furries to, you know, those like, quote unquote further out elements that people like tend to see as like not like quite as like whatever, right? We're doing the same thing to them that the LGB Alliance is doing to trans people, trying to sell us out for the optical win for the gay community. Yeah, welcome to the left where we will kill each other over optics. Like this is just wrong. Like the idea that like this is bad optics, for one, you don't know anything about like activism in reality, right? Like the thing is, when we're talking about when we're talking about groups like this, when we're talking about groups like the queer community that are fighting for rights and like are actively facing a genocide, the problem is the people who are mad about this was two people, two types of people who are mad about this. Weird leftists that don't know what optics are, and conservatives. That's it. Those are the groups. Weird weird leftists slash liberals that don't know anything about optics, and conservatives. That's who was mad about it. The average person wasn't mad about this. Conservatives were mad about this. And the problem is when we're talking about optics with like this, we're the only person that's mad about it is a conservative. You're just saying the only way we need to like we can win is if we optically appeal to the people that like literally want us, are like literally doing the genocide. Now, obviously, we got to appeal to like the average like conservative voter and stuff. Like we're trying to move people over. That's not what I'm like saying, that we should like abandon that. What I'm saying is the people who were getting mad about this were people who literally like are just doing the genocide. We're not losing optics because those people already want us dead. Like when you're trying to appeal to like that side of the political spectrum, there is no like threshold where the optics actually win in your favor. It's kind of like the same reason like when we're talking about the different like various groups that fall within the like trans umbrella. This was actually like an argument I had the other day where like we were talking about drag and we were talking about intersex people and like the trans umbrella. And like obviously neither intersex people or drag like are like those aren't the same thing as being trans, right? But it's more valuable to have more fluidity with things so that you can be more inclusive, because at the end of the day, even if there are distinctions to those movements and there are distinctions to the like needs and the fights for those things, we're all going to end up in the same death camp from conservatives and fascists and transphobes. Like they don't care. They don't see the distinction. They don't they don't know the difference. And so fracturing us up in every like possible way, I feel leads to worse outcomes. And I think that's the same with this kind of thing. When we're trying to appeal to people when we're, caring about optics, you have to actually look at who the audience is. Because if the people who are getting mad about a thing, in this case, the furry trans art, are conservatives or fascists, like you're not going to get a win there. You're not actually going to get a win. And they like Hippie Punk said, they also don't care. Like they just New Flesh, they just hate us. They don't actually care. Like they just want us dead. Like that's the goal, right? So they don't actually give a shit about the distinction. And so as far as I'm concerned, from like a movement standpoint, we shouldn't either. And we shouldn't sell out the easier targets of our movement just to try to appeal to people who don't actually care and are just going to send us to the camp anyway. It was the same thing with xenogenders, and it's the same thing here with furries and with trans furries. This is based and getting mad about it because you personally get uncomfortable by furry art because you have a wrong assumption about what it is. I'm sorry. You. Off. Like, that really is just about all I have to say. Like, And actually, wait, no, there is one other thing I want to tear into about this because the actual like discourse is stupid, but the last part I want to tear in here, right? This is a 19-year-old girl. This is literally a baby. This is literally a baby. Like you can do the thing. You can say, well, no, like this is an adult. Like she can make her own decision. But I don't know. This is a 19-year-old kid, and a bunch of people who get a little bit uncomfortable about like furry art and just want to be mad about furry art dogpiled a 19-year-old kid on Twitter for the world to see in a way that only drew attention to and gave like basically permission for right-wingers to come and do the exact same thing and join it. And as far as I'm concerned, that makes you no better than them. And Storm, you're correct. Like literally, it doesn't actually really matter about the age. Like I was dogpiled too. Like if you've been here for a while, like you know, I went through like a harassment campaign from Bad and Panada in his community, and like had basically like a very similar thing happen. No one should have to do it, but especially not a 19-year-old kid. You, all of you who participated in this. Like, it is especially bad to do this to somebody this young. Like, that that was actually like the last thing that I wanted to go on was the fact that like a bunch of people literally dogpiled a 19-year-old on Twitter. Like we've seen the effects of those, right? And I know everybody's gotten a little bit of irony poison because we're all aware of like all of the different people online here that try to like weaponize being like receiving harassment to claim like or weaponize like receiving comments or like disagreements or whatever to like you know essentially defend their like bad takes or whatever because once it turns into a dog pile, right? But we're not talking about Anna Kasparian. We're not talking about like a grown adult woman on a like mainstream news show, as mainstream as like an online news show can be, receiving comments about literally being transphobic. We're talking about a 19-year-old girl who put up posters around her hometown spreading a positive message that just included a furry picture that wasn't sexualized, that wasn't harmful in any way. Like, you just dogpiled a 19-year-old for literally for what? This wasn't harmful. Twisty, you should. Honestly, I want to do this now. The only reason I'm not going to is because I think I actually might be at risk of getting shot where I live. Yeah, exactly, Nutspace. Brianna Wu was one of the targets of Gamergate. She should know better. She should know better about doing this kind of thing. Especially because, like I said, we're not even talking about just like, a couple of liberals and a couple of like weirdly like sex negative leftists getting mad about this. We're talking about literally drawing attention to it and reifying the beliefs of right wingers, the people that actually do want us dead. Like, God, guys, this is so bad, and all of them should feel ashamed of themselves. I know they won't, but they should. Anyway, I'm just gonna keep like rambling and ranting on this because it's actually really stupid and frustrating. So we're just gonna move on. Bluefolf, I know you're not watching this, but if you do, you're based, and you should do this again. In fact, we should all be doing this. We should like this is actually I'll stand on this take. This is actually better activism than what most people on Twitter actually do. I'll take that stand. I will actually take that like hard pill and I will swallow it. All you need to too. This right here, doing this, is more activism than what most of the people getting mad about this have ever done in their life or ever will done. Ever will done, ever will do. Literally. This right here is better activism than 90% of what lefty Twitter does. Everyone who harassed this girl. All of you should be ashamed. And again, I'm gonna like take that stance right now that this is better activism than what 90% of Twitter does. All of the people like criticizing this have never done a single thing of actual activism in their life, and this is actually better. So with that all said, thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.
Thanks so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to leave a like, a comment, and subscribe. And if you'd like to support the channel further, you can become a channel member by clicking the join button, leave a super chat or a super thanks. You can become a patron at patreon.com/SaigeAlexis, or you could donate to my coffee. The link for that will be in the description below. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.